We're coming up on the parallel bars, another of the most these interesting events in gymnastics. Another one in which techniques change with the passage of time. You see new things all the time. Especially I've seen new things in parallel bars in the last couple of years.
There's a lot of new skills that are being done now, Doug, especially one-bar skills. More and more skills are being done on one bar, and parallel bars probably has been more static than some of the other events. There haven't been that many changes, but in the last couple of years, we've had some good changes.
Look at those scores, huh? Hartung, the winner on the vault, and 4 tied for second. 3 of them from Iowa State. Well, you can see how the Cyclones picked up a little point there. In the parallel bars, the first man up will be Aníbal Hernandez of Oklahoma. From Puerto Rico.
Here's his mount. Does jump into a glide, reverse straddle cut to a straddle plunge, presses up to a handstand, a pirouette. There's a stutz to a handstand, and that's called a Diamidov, named after a Russian gymnast. Front uprise to a swing pirouette. Another stutz up to a handstand, and a good double back. Pretty good routine, especially for their first performer. If that's any indication of Oklahoma's power on the parallel bars, they got a good event coming up.
Aníbal Hernandez, Puerto Rico's outstanding gymnast. In 1981, he went to Oklahoma. A lot of young people on this Sooner team. They're laden with freshmen. There's Dave Mickelson, who is the Iowa State assistant gymnastics coach. And a heck of a nice guy on top of that.
Dave's been with the team for a number of years now, and of course, was a member of the national championship team of Iowa State, and is carrying that tradition right along to the team now.
Scores will be up in a second. They will be in the low 9s. Actually, quite good scores for the first man up on the parallel bars for Oklahoma. I see a 9-2 and a 9-0, and the head judge has put it a little lower than that, 8-8, and another 9-0. So that puts it up on the board, a 9-0 for Aníbal Hernandez of Oklahoma. Now, Dave Smeedle, the Iowa State captain.
Okay, here's Dave on the parallel bars, jumps up, does a
tough
head
start.
slip. It's supposed to be a peach to a straddle cut, and he looks like he missed his hand, which is unfortunate. But he covered up, and he's back together again. Stutz to a handstand after his press. Layaway Straley to a handstand. Another Straley, immediate pirouette. Drops down, drop peach, straddle cut. Swing up to handstand, pirouette. Cast, back uprise. Straddle cut, swing to handstand. Be preparing for his dismount. And a back somersault with a full twist.
Well, the question will be, how much will that little problem right at the start, when the judges are first looking at you, going to cost him?
Well, I'll tell you, let's look here. He does straddle. You can see, like, he missed his hand. His right hand missed the bar. And I would say this, Doug, that it's if you're going to miss, probably the best time to miss is on your first trick. You're less likely to have the judges remember how severe it was. Stutz up to a handstand. I would say that the miss is probably going to cost him 4 to 5 tenths, though, at the tops. Another straight lead handstand pirouette. Drop peach and a straddle cut. That's the same skill he missed, and the second time he came back and did it very well. Drops down, cast, back upright straddle cut, swing to handstand. In preparation for his dismount, does a full twisting back somersault. Dave, that's something that Dave just started putting in and did it quite well.
Well, there's quite a range in scores here. 7-9, 8-1, 8-3, 8-7. And so that makes an 8.2. Obviously a disappointment, and for Dave Smeedle and for Iowa State, and as you say, it seemed to be about a half a point below his average this year. Dave Smeedle. Here is Mike Bowers of Nebraska.
Mike mounts with a peach to handstand and Had a little trouble with it, took an intermediate swing. Stutz, that was Diamondov. Front uprise, swing handstand, pirouette. That's called a Kato hop to a straddle L. Kato hop named after the Olympic champion Suao Kato from Japan. Kind of a neat little move there. Layaway front uprise. And a 1.5 twist off, or a root off. It looked like, I don't know if you heard it, Doug, it sounded like that Mike might have been scraping the mat on the on his front uprise. And that can disturb you a little bit when you're doing that.
Take a look at Mike. He's an all-rounder.
Here's his mount. He does a peach to a handstand, and it looked like he started to push up there and lost his balance a little bit. Had to take that intermediate swing, which is going to cost him severely.
Mike's had a little problem in 2 or 3 of the events here today. A little disconcerting to him, I'm sure.
Make big now.
There's his dismount, front with a 1.5. It's unfortunate that he had that little bobble because he actually had a pretty good exercise going.
He had scored 35.5 in the first 4 events. His scores are 2 8-1s and 2 8-3s. So that's 8.2. So you see that Nebraska was unable to take advantage on that particular round of Smeedle's 8-2.
Yeah, that was very fortunate for the Cyclones at that point, and we'll have to see what happens.
Here's Mark Oates of Oklahoma.
It's a glide straddle up on 1 bar. It's kind of an interesting mount. A couple of pirouettes, turns, a stutz to a handstand. Drops down, cast, back upright straddle cut. It's a reverse stutz, straddle cut to an L. It's got a pretty good exercise going so far. No breaks. Form has been good. Another stutz to a handstand. And a double back. Little bit, the fact that he was a little bit short on the stutz to handstand, it could have caused him to rush the double back a little bit, and it made him put his hands down. Of course, that's going to cost him a little bit. Here's his press. Swings down. He swings forward with a half turn, stutz to handstand, then double back, and you see he's a little unrotated, and he puts his hands down. That will hurt his score just a little bit, Doug. I'd say probably lose about 2 to 3 tenths.
Mark Oates of Oklahoma. Well, he got 1 score of 9. He had another of 8-7 that I can see. And 2 more have yet to go up. You see Mark Bowers there. He and his brother, who just was the first man up for Nebraska, have a special reason for doing well today. They like to do well against each other. Twin brothers at different schools. 8-6 and 8-7, 9-0 and 8-7.
Here's Mark's routine. Drop peach to handstand. That was the move that his brother had a little trouble with. Stutz up to handstand. Whoops, an intermediate swing. Looks like 2 intermediate swings. Swing pirouette, glide off to the end. Straddle, glide straddle on 1 bar. Looked like Mark had a little bit of a problem there too. Pirouette's in.
Ooh, there is a problem. Had to come completely off the bars.
And that's going to cost him substantially, Doug. You're probably talking on that 6 to 8 tenths deduction. He's got 30 seconds now to remount, and the judge will let him know when his time is up. Gets back up, swings to handstand. Stutz up to handstand, layaway, front uprise, front off with a half twist. That's really too bad, Doug, because at that point, when the Cyclones fortunately were able to keep in range with the problem by Mike Bowers, Mark comes back and has a bit of a problem.
So the first 2 Cyclones here have had troubles.
Right there was a swing. It looked like he was either going to go for a back somersault or a Diamondov, something like that, or possibly even a stutz, and didn't do the skill and ended up with an intermediate swing or 2. Glide up, straddle on 1 bar.
It did cost him a lot, Mike.
and then he just overbalanced that handstand and just had to get off the bars.
Well, as we said, at the end of the vaulting, Iowa State had a 1.05 team lead. And it didn't change when Smeedle and Bowers both went 8-2 the first set of routines here on the parallel bars. And now Mark Bowers is going to score down in the 7s. This could almost make up that difference if Nebraska comes back strong themselves. And they will have Mark Bowers. They will have Brandon Hull up next. 7-4, 2 7-1s, and a 7-3. It's 7.2, and that hurts for the Iowa State cause.
Here's Brandon. There's a glide reverse straddle up to a handstand. Hit the bars a little bit. There's a Diamondov. Very nice. Took a couple of steps. He's holding it in. Lose just a little bit on that. Front uprise, front toss, straddle cut. There's an intermediate swing there, too, and that's going to hurt him, too, Doug. Looks like they're kind of going back and forth on this thing. Stutz, front uprise, hop pirouette. He's over. Check that. He saved that one. And a double back. Good dismount.
Yes, good dismount.
Good dismount, which he needed to do at that point. Had some problems on that exercise. And
in some respects, he was probably glad to be off of there.
Oh, probably, especially at that point. Okay, here's his front toss, which is very nice. Pushes straddle cut. And he's supposed to go to a handstand there, and he couldn't make it. So he takes an intermediate swing, swings a pirouette, comes back, does a stutz to handstand, layaway front uprise, hop pirouette to handstand, and he's way overbalanced, but he checked it, which was a good thing. Comes back, and a pretty good double back and a nice landing.
Well, actually, all he would need is an 8.25 here to bring Nebraska back up even with Iowa State, and he's going to do better than that. He has an 8.5, 8.0, 8.7, 8.4, and that makes it 8.45. So now you're going to see the score go up on the right there. Nebraska will now take the lead for the first time in quite a while, since back actually in the floor, early in the floor exercise. Here is Mike Sims of Oklahoma, another all-arounder.
Cat support, front flip, swing pirouette, very nice. And a drop peach hand, very nicely done. Whoops, a couple of steps there, which he probably wouldn't have liked to have done. Stutz to handstand. And a Diamondov, very nice. And a big glide kip. Swing out to a swing pirouette. Getting himself straightened out there. Stutz to handstand. Very nice parallel bar worker, Mike Sims. And a big double back and a pretty good landing. Good exercise, Doug. A lot of difficulty, some interesting combinations, and good extension and execution from Mike Sims.
Well, the Sooners have definitely had it better on the parallel bars than the other two teams so far.
Had a couple steps there, which he probably would have liked to have eliminated, and then he does a stutz to handstand, comes right back with a Diamondov, and a big glide kip, which is quite a difficult skill from a handstand. Swings a pirouette out of his glide kip, comes back with another stutz to handstand, swings through, and a nice double back. Good exercise for Mike Sims.
9-2, 9-1. 9-1, 9-2, 9-1, 8-8. So it's 9-1 for Mike Sims of Oklahoma. Here is Brett Finch of Iowa State. And the Cyclones need a score.
Reverse straddle cut. Straddle cut L. Press to handstand now for Brett. Stutz up to handstand. Straley to handstand. Layaway front uprise. Swing pirouette. Stutz up to handstand. He's doing a good job so far. And a double back and a stuck landing. Boy, did the Cyclones need that one, Doug. Good routine for Brett. He had a little problem at the beginning, but the rest of the routine picked up from there and did a very nice job.
Let's take a look at it again.
After his reverse straddle cut mount and then a straddle cut L, presses to handstand. Comes back down with a stutz to handstand. A Straley right back up to handstand. lay away, front uprise, does a swing pirouette, finished off after a stütz hand with a very nice double back for an ending. Brett Finch.
Well, he was solidly in second place in the all-around, too, coming into this event. 37.50 in 4 events. Let's listen to the judges. There's a disagreement on the range here.
9.6, 9.5, 9.0, 9.1.
I didn't have my toe off. I just didn't. I can give anything.
Did I miss a B or C, I mean? He's got 3 C's.
All right, I thought it was awful.
I give him back 2/10 on virtuosity alone.
Mounts written listed as a wrist cut. Wide reverse cut? That's right. In the middle bars, it's listed as a wrist cut. Is it really? Sure is.
Okay.
A V back on the Straley.
Yeah.
And
he did everything to hand, basically. I give him back his virtuosity.
I think you're being awfully critical there. Well, I'll give him back 2 10s, but I think the routine.
Okay.
Well, if I get the part I missed, I'm at 9.3 then.
Okay. 9.3, 9.5 is in range.
They came up on him, Doug.
They came up instead of bringing somebody down that time.
Well, the thing they're talking about when they're talking about virtuosity and things like that are the subjective points that they're allowed to give.
A 9-4 score, and that was definitely a big need for the Cyclones. That's Finch's best score of the year. Now we're going to see Jim Mikas, one of 3 Nebraska all-arounders. His team led by 2/10 coming into his routine before Finch went up.
Okay, here's Jim on the parallel bars. Mounts with a peach to handstand and an inward or reverse pirouette right after it. Does a Diamondov, very nice. Layaway front uprise, swing pirouette over, turns out, glides to a straddle. Did a good job of saving that. Stütz up to handstand, layaway front uprise, swinging pirouette, getting set for his dismount, and a double back.
Ooh, and a little step.
And a little step, but good thing he did what he did. He could have ended up sitting down on that one, so he saved it. Good routine from Jim Mikas, good difficulty, and everything was executed quite well. So
Jim was in 4th place, 5th place of the 6 all-arounders coming into this event.
Just straddle up press on 1 bar. Does a stütz up to handstand, layaway front uprise, swings to a pirouette, be preparing for his dismount, little step there, double back, holds on tight, and steps back and saved himself for a good exercise.
Well, let's see. I see 2 9.2s, a 9.0, and a 9.1. So it's 9.15 for Nebraska's Mikas, and that puts Iowa State back up by 5 1/100ths of a point. That's one thing about not cutting out a score. You know what the race is as you see it go on the board. There's no waiting around to see who's going to be cut out.
It's just like a basketball game.
Mark Folger of Oklahoma is on the parallel bars.
Peach up to handstand, front uprise hop pirouette, and a stütz to handstand, and a nice high back toss. Front uprise swing pirouette again, stütz to handstand, a Diamondov. Boy, he's doing everything. Another Diamondov, and a good high double back and a solid landing. Good routine, Doug.
Mark Folger is a senior, and he's a parallel bar specialist from Wichita, and he has placed twice in the Big 8 Conference in the parallel bars competition.
Very nice exercise, lots of difficulty. Here's a high back toss to handstand, over a little bit, lays away, front uprise, swing pirouette, big stütz to handstand, comes right back with a Diamondov. It's a full spin on 1 bar, and the same thing right again, and then a nice double back and a solid landing. Mark Folger of Oklahoma.
There's the Iowa State team, and a big smile by Ed Gagne. He's talking with the team captain, Dave Smeedle.
Mark Folger, 8.5,
8.5,
8.9,
9.0, 8.9, 8.6.
Next for Iowa State,
Makes it 8.75. 8.75 for Mark Folger. Here's Yasu Kuniosh who's been in 2 events so far for Iowa State. 9.05 on the floor and 9.6 in the vaulting.
Here's Yasu's parallel bars. Pete straddle Cadell, very nice. Presses up to a handstand. Holds that, very nice. A back toss right to handstand. And then a stutz with a fall. Fairly good cover up though, Doug. At least he didn't eliminate and have a lot of extra swings. Stutz, cast back upright, straddle cut, dip swing to handstand. Stutz, layaway front uprise, front off with a half twist. Okay, Yasu Kuniosh came back after a real potential problem there, and of course, obviously he's going to lose something for that, but the fact that he came back the way he did saved him quite a bit.
Well, in this event, Nebraska still has Johnson and Hartung to go. Here is Kuniosh in a replay.
Press the handstand. Everything was fine up to here. Swings down for a backhand. Very nice. Comes through with a stutz, and it looked like he was over to the side a little bit and wasn't able to support himself. But he did a front uprise out of it and swung to his handstand, so he's going to lose, obviously, points for the skill, but not a lot for extra parts that he added to the routine. The rest of it was pretty good. Back upright straddle cut, up to the handstand. Swings stutz, layaway front uprise, and a front off with a half twist. Yasu Kuniosh.
Well, let's see, 8-5, 8-4, 8-4, 8-1. So it's an 8-4 for Yasu Kuniosh, and Nebraska has some people who might be able to take advantage of that. Here's one of them right here. Scott Johnson, the leader in the all-around, 38.30 in 4 events. The lowest score he's had yet is a 9.5.
Here's Scott, mounts with a glide, reverse straddle, right up to a handstand. Comes back with a Diamondov, layaway front uprise, front 1 1/4, all the way to a support. Let's call it that. Just, gosh, that was good. Very nicely done, a very difficult part. Stutz to handstand, and a double back stuck. Very nice job for Scott Johnson. She's just like a robot, one right after another. Makes it look easy.
Hasn't he been fine so far? Look at it again.
Okay, he does a Diamondov, layaway front uprise, powerful front 1 1/4, straddles it, catches in a support, does that Kato hop, straddle Cadell. Very nice, very difficult, very well done. Presses up to his handstand, comes right back with a stutz to handstand, a little under that, pulls it back, and a nice double back and a good landing.
And down he comes with a 9.6. He had 2 9.6s, a 9.7 and a 9.5. 9.6 for Scott Johnson, and that really puts some distance between Nebraska and Iowa State in the team score. Here is Robbie Mahurin of Oklahoma. Nebraska now leads by 1.15. It's been a 2.5-point turnaround almost in this event.
Here's Robbie, does a cast with a half, front uprise, front toss, swing to handstand. Nice mount, did it quite well. Stutz to handstand, drops down peach straddle cut, L. It's a very difficult skill, and he did it quite well. Presses up to his handstand. Comes back with a stutz up to handstand, layaway front uprise, swinging reverse pirouette, and he didn't get over enough on that. Doug consequently had to come down and cast back up. Swings back up to a handstand, and a back somersault off with a full twist. Had a real nice set going, Robbie Mahurin, except for that one part where he did the swing reverse pirouette and fell off on the wrong side. If you're going to go over, it probably would have been better to go over on the other side, perhaps to be able to turn in. You see, it is a stutz to handstand, peach straddle cut, right to an L, just a little dip there. Presses up to a handstand here. Holds the handstand, swings down. There's a stutz up to a handstand. There's a layaway. This is where he gets in trouble. Swing reverse pirouette, and his feet start coming down. He's not able to stay on the bar. He has to come down and do a support. Comes back in, swings back up. Comes up with his finish. Back somersault, full twist. Good dismount.
Robbie Mahurin. We were talking about Oates, the outstanding gymnast in Texas last year. Mahurin was the best 2 years ago. 8-7, 8-6, 8-5. You got them all the way down the list there. Take out the high and the low, it's 8.65. Here is Rick Atkinson of Iowa State. He'll be followed by Hartung of Nebraska.
Rick needs a good routine here. Free hip up to a handstand, very nice. Stutz up to a handstand, play away front uprise, front 1 1/4, straddle cut to L. This isn't one of Rick's best events, but it's very important here that he does a good job to hold Iowa State in that team competition. Press to handstand, nice. Stutz up to handstand, pirouettes, and a double back. Good routine for Rick Atkinson. They needed that routine very badly, Doug, and Rick came through and did a very nice job with it. Here's a stutz up to handstand, play away front uprise. Here's a front 1 1/4, similar to the move that Scotty Johnson did. Straddle cut to an L. Actually, right now, Rick needs just a little bit more polish on his execution on this event, and he's going to have another good event for himself. His press, stutz up to handstand, and a double back dismount to a very nice landing. Good job for Ricky.
2 9-1s, an 8-8, and a 9-2. So he comes through with a 9.1 score for Iowa State. And the last man up in the parallel bars is Jim Hartung. Not in the all-around because of recovery from that elbow surgery, but he has been up once before. He was on the floor, and you'll see him here in the parallel bars.
Here's Jim's mount. There's a glide, reverse straddle, up to a handstand, immediate reverse pirouette, stutz to a handstand, couple of steps, Tiamatov, layaway front uprise, swing pirouette, straddles down, presses to a plunge, and then pushes all the way back up to a handstand. Very nice. Play away front uprise, swing pirouette, and a double back for Jim Hartung. You know, Doug, Jim is so talented. Every time he gets on the equipment, you're not really sure what he's going to do. He's got so many skills, and he can do them in just about any combination or sequence. And I know that Francis Allen, his coach, says that, for example, on pommel horse, he has one of 9 routines he'll use at any time, and he's really the same on this event, too. Here's his routine again, reverse straddle cut to a reverse pirouette, stutz right to a handstand, a little over-aggressive there with a step or two, comes back with a Diamondov, right back to a layaway front uprise, swing pirouette, always in control, knows exactly what he's doing and where he's going next. Press to a plunge, very nice press up out of it, very difficult. It's the same skill that Jim used on the floor. He does a layaway, front uprise, swing pirouette, preparing for his dismount, and a very fast, nice high double back
and his
a good
score,
landing.
Mike, was the same as Atkinson, 9.10. Those are the winners in the parallel bars right there. Johnson with a big score, a very important 9.6 for Nebraska, and the last set of men didn't change it. Nebraska, as you see, has now taken the lead by 1.15 points. They came in trailing by 1.05, so there's almost a 3-point turnaround right there. Iowa State 227.7.
The team totals after 5.
Oklahoma in the center there, 220.75. Nebraska, 228.85. And the Cornhuskers turned it around on the parallel bars. The young Oklahoma team is now third. Iowa State, Oklahoma, and Nebraska from Hilton Coliseum, a big triangular meet. It's nice.